Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing out there? It's Nickolas Wildstar, Libertarian candidate for California governor. That's right, I am officially on the ballot and will be giving you out there, all of the people watching this video, and would love to have an opportunity to get rid of this corrupt government that we have in the state of California and get away to something more sensible, something more productive, something more efficient, and that is one that is built on the foundation and principle of liberty. So if you want to vote Libertarian and want to make that shift, then I again am giving you that opportunity by being on the ballot. I made it easy for you, so all you have to do is go out and vote. If you aren't registered to vote, please definitely do so. You can go to residents.This.ca.gov and again register to vote so you can vote Libertarian in the June 5th primary. It is very, very imperative that everyone in California votes in that June 5th primary. We do have a top two primary system, which means the candidates that get the least or most amount of votes will be the only two that proceeds to the general election in November. So please be sure to make sure that you vote in that June primary. It's imperative if you want to have a choice in that June election and be able to choose from two opposing parties and two different people opposed to just one party itself, which here in California most likely will end up being a Democratic candidate. So if you want to get away from them and definitely don't want to waste your vote on voting for a Republican, because they're not going to have a chance to win this state over whatsoever. So if you want to get away from that, get away from the right, get away from the left, and just shoot straight down the middle for once, I urge you all to vote Libertarian. So I'm making this video for my all-day Q&A, and just wanted to start off telling you guys a little bit about what's going on with the campaign. Again, like I said, I am on the ballot, and I'm also a grassroots candidate. Everything that I'm doing here with my campaign is being sponsored by people like you. So I'm being crowdsourced and crowdfunded by all of you. So I urge you all to please continue to donate as you have. I've been able to produce signs and like this and bumper stickers, be able to travel throughout the state, get my videos out there and promote it. So it's definitely helping the word reach out there. So please continue to contribute and do whatever you can to help this liberty movement move forward, okay? Also, I'm in need of volunteers. So as the campaign is growing and is high energy, it is very demanding. We are running for governor here. So we're trying to take away the state from the, neocons that have been in control of it this whole time. So I need you to help me if we are able to succeed. So I need people to join in. I have the people involved with the campaign, but we're all volunteering. We're wearing multiple hats, doing many things. The people involved have jobs, families of their own, school, whatever the case may be. So the more hands that we can get involved with what's going on, the better. So please be sure to contact me if you would like to volunteer. My email address is available to you all. It's on my website. Just go on my website, wildstar2018.com, and be sure to check out more about the campaign, of course, if you are a voter in the state, so you can know why you should vote for me in the June 5th, 2018 primary. Hey, what's up there, Rebecca? Thank you for chiming in and tuning in with me. All right, so I also want to tell you all about my contest that's going on. I haven't received enough videos, but right now I'm giving away free shirts. Free shirts, okay? Again, which was paid for by you. Thank you so much. So if you would like a free shirt, all you have to do is contact me and say why you would vote Wildstar for governor, and you can have a free shirt. I'll send it to you, okay? I think I have about 10 left, so if you want one, definitely send it to me and I will send you the shirt. Send me a video ASAP. Doesn't have to be anything too involved. Just show me a little love and show the world again why you would vote Wildstar for governor, okay? Love you too, Rebecca. And what's up, Bruce? Thanks for chiming in. All right, cool. So, with the daily Q&A videos that I've been doing, I've been getting a whole lot of questions, ones that I haven't been able to answer, and they've been piling up, so I've compiled a list of those that I'm going to be going through now, okay? And of course, as you watch the video, if you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to answer those. I will be having a Q&A at the end. I'll do my best to keep up, but if you have to post your question again so I can answer it later, I would definitely appreciate it. Just work with me here, all right? So Bruce, he says, if you win the governor race, you will have the hardest job in the nation. Not really, it's just another desk job. See, we've given these governmental roles so much power, we think it's going to be a hard job. Man, my job is going to be easy. Why? Because I plan on minimizing government so much that I won't have to sweat so much about the little things and all of those intricacies of the government where they feel like they need to be involved and they have dictated to us, we the people, how they need to be involved in our life is just out of synchronicity. It's wrong, it's incorrect, it's unconstitutional, and we need to balance things out. Get some regular people in there, people that represent us, we the people, in there, not these big bank officials that and lobbyists and union members and teams or whatever the case may be, organizations that are influencing these politicians to get into office. They're all corporate sponsored, okay? They don't care about you, all right? That's why they're not asking you for your money to get into office. That's why they control and regulate the electoral process the way that they do, to prevent people like me and you from being able to run for office. So they're always going to continue to stay corporate sponsored, and they're always going to have their interests in mind first opposed to yours. But of course they need you to believe that they are working for you. So the whole smoke and mirrors and, you know, sideshow of elections and all of this stuff is just to make you think that you have some influence, because you do. And that's why they ask you to vote for them, because that process is still in place. And we depend on it to, again, put these people that we hire with our tax money, with our tax dollars, to govern our state, govern the societal practices that we don't want to focus on. You know, we have our own family and work and school, whatever, our own pursuits in life. So what helps us work together cohesively as a society, we hire people in government to do exactly that. They don't, okay? They make life more troublesome. We know this. So stop being fooled. We can't continue to be fooled by the machine any longer. It's doing an extreme detriment to us all. And again, if we want to change things, we have to do something different. So move away from the old two-party duopoly. Stop thinking that your vote is going to be wasted if you vote for a third-party candidate. Your vote will always be wasted if you vote for a loser, okay? Vote for a winner. And all of these people that are presenting themselves as being champions for liberty and freedom and small businesses and families, they are not. They're all about big corporate welfare and warfare. They use warmongering. We're seeing more of it in our in mainstream media, and we just need to get away from that. So thank you everyone for chiming in here. I'm gonna quit rambling and get to these questions before they start piling up again. All right. So let's see. The first one that I have is, how does Governor Wildstar intend to protect an individual's right to contract? Okay, that's a very broad scoped question there, because when we think about right to contract, what does that pertain to exactly? That could be marriage, that could be work, that could be any type of personal contract between an individual. And I believe government has, again, gotten involved where it doesn't belong. Any contract between the individual should be left between individuals. And individual rights should not ever be trumped like that expression, by collectivism, all right? And that's what's happening right now. We have collectivist thoughts and applications on individual property rights, which is you and whatever contract that you engage into. For instance, I'm a married man, so my contract between my wife and I is our own personal agreement. Why did the state have to be involved in that at all whatsoever? Why? I don't know. And this is the problem. We've given the power to the state to issue those contracts when really it's the agreement between the two individuals. Government makes a conflict of interest when they're involved in the issuance of those contracts. So to get out of it is to pretty much take the neutral position to where if there was ever a conflict, now we can help you come to a resolution. That's what the government is supposed to be helping us with when it comes to judicial practices. And it does not. If anything, it causes more complications because of its own dictation of how that process should be done. Same thing with work. When you go to work, it's an individual contract. I was a musician or, was working in the recording industry. And when learning about the music business, it's business. And when you go in there as an artist, in order to sign with a record label, you get presented with a contract. You have to read through the fine print and see what's going to happen. How is your money going to be distributed? Because it's an agreement and it's work. So a lot of artists don't read that contract. That's why they end up leaving the entertainment industry penniless. So again, when government is involved in that, in the creation of that contract, it creates a bit of bias there. So we need to get them out of that issuance of any permits, licensure, of any case may be. Your own right to contract should be yours and left to you exclusively, okay? And it needs to be protected again. That's what I would do as governor. As governor, my jobs and duties would pertain to the executive branch. Governor is just like being president, only it's of the state. So we think because California is a big state, it's harder to govern. And a lot of past governors have proven that to be true. And that's only because they're doing their best to try to control everything. I'm not trying to control anything at all. The people of this state are the controllers. They're the ones working. They're the moving parts that's keeping this whole machine going. So as governor, all I need to do is make sure that all of those working parts are moving fluidly, constantly, period. That's all it's about. So the less regulation in that process, the better. So when it comes to my job, it would be taking care of the executive branch, just as the president has, or our government body, when it comes to the national government, it has three branches. That's the executive, legislative, and judicial, okay? It breaks down just like that every state that you're in. So here in the state of California, we have our judicial branch, we have our legislative branch, and we have our executive branch. So I would be head of the executive branch. But I also would have influence with legislation. If Congress in the state or whatever were to pass a bill and present it to me, I could veto that bill. I could pass that bill. I could go through it line by line and say, I like that, I don't like that. What would be the determination of that? Always will be the Constitution. If it infringes on your constitutional rights, it will always be vetoed. It will never be considered. And any congressman that you elect to put into office wherever you are in the state, they'll have to conflict with me or either work with me on that right there. So that's why I urge you all to vote Libertarian, vote for any state officer that pledges to uphold the United States Constitution, because that's where these laws should start and end. Okay, and when it comes to the judicial branch, I'll be able to appoint state Supreme Court justices, just as the president appoints Supreme Court justices. So I would be able to select those individuals, have them be voted upon and elected into office. That means any laws that you may feel like you don't like, you can always take it to those Supreme Court justices and have it challenged, and or do it yourself by getting involved in your jury and nullifying any laws that you find arbitrary. You can learn this, you can do this, all right? If you get involved in your legislative body, and if you want to help get rid of these stupid laws that pretty much infringe every aspect of our lives, get involved, okay? One of the first things that you could do is stop turning down those juror notices. Start taking them up and going to jury duty and nullify these laws. You got to learn about it. Anyways, I'm going to keep moving here. Give back the right to contract to the individual. Respect for individual property rights. That's where we're going to start. All right, so next question is, I'm sure you've seen The Matrix, so if I may ask, are you a red pillar? Yes, indeed. I am definitely a third eye open type of a person. You can find out more about that by listening to my music. Definitely my new album, Evolve or Die, speaks of that highly, as well as looking at my GovernorWildstar.com website. I do my best, of course, to express to as many people as possible how we need to be more aware of our world that's going on around us. It's so sad that we've gotten so caught up in indoctrination and believing status quo, statism beliefs that we must again just all think the same. We're being controlled. We are. Okay, it's systematic and there is a process to it. It's been done for a long time and there are many working parts to it, but if you want to resist it, it starts first with you standing up and resisting it yourself. So, yes, I went down a rabbit hole a long time ago. And again, as governor, we'll be definitely sharing that awareness with you. And we'll be protecting your awareness against those people that would like to prevent you from expressing yourself. I myself am a man of God. And it's awful that I'm being told that in any expression of that, it can be seen as being threatening or off-putting, or offsetting, or whatever the case may be. I came from Christian roots, but I have read books about Buddhism. I've read books about Islam. I've read books about Judaism. I've read the Bhagavad Gita. I've read the Zohar and, parts of the Torah. And religion is a beautiful thing. If we could all just come together in harmony, what could we achieve? So no matter how you speak of God, whatever your faith may be, please continue to be open-hearted and be yourself and just be more spiritual. Show these people what they're missing. We're becoming more technical. You see families now, they're caught around on digital devices all day long. I see your guys' comments on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all this stuff, but it's millions of them. And and some of you guys write me long, letters and stuff, and I can't go through it all. I don't sit around on a computer like that all day long. I'm running for governor. I actually got to get out there and meet with people and let them know, hey, I exist, you exist, and together we should let the world know we exist. Not sitting around some computer or some digital device, although I do appreciate you tuning in now. But this is part of that connection. This is a way to utilize it towards its strength, opposed to letting it add more to our detriment and break us more apart. So I thank you all for tuning in and taking advantage of this technology right now to be a part of this. Yeah. All right, we're going to move down. Next one is, in the Libertarian platform, all taxation for wealth distribution purposes would be abolished, and the state budget would be prohibited from including any such activity therein. What is your transition plan from the welfare system to what you and the LP envision for helping the people in need in California? So a lot of you that may not be familiar with the Libertarian Party platform, It pretty much says that government shouldn't be involved in social welfare. It shouldn't be involved in redistribution of wealth, collecting it from the masses and then giving it to specific groups, whether they be rich, poor, whatever the case may be. The government shouldn't be involved in that. You should be involved in that. You should be in charge of that, and I completely support that. The government industries that do exist are, certain facets or organizations, whatever, that's exactly what they do. They collect our tax dollars and they redistribute it to who they see fit. They're dictating who they give the money to. They're creating the standards of who qualifies, opposed to making it open and available to all of those who should have an opportunity to have access to it. And again, when government is involved, it has proven this time and time again through history, through facts, that it will fail miserably. It tries and tries again, and that is because we're humans. It's always going to be built on human error, and we make mistakes, okay? So to think that we have all of the answers and we can perfect our way of life by dictating upon each other how they should be living, then it's not going to work. We need to let each other be free, let each other be existent in their own individual personalities, whatever the case may be, and allow people who want to help those in need, help those in need. We have laws here in the state of California that prevent people from feeding the homeless. Why is that a law? And you have idiots out there, those people like you, there's some people out there like you that will be statists. They'll say, well, it's against the law. You shouldn't be breaking the law. Laws are always going to be interchangeable. They're always going to be dictatable depending on who you put in charge, okay? We'll talk about that later. But these laws shouldn't be laws at all. They're rules. And we don't have to follow these rules. We have our own natural laws as human beings that we appreciate, we respect, and that we live on. So we just need to start acting upon those natural rights and laws as human beings and start sharing with one another again. So it's sad that, again, government does that and these systems do exist. So with our welfare system, it is one that's built on collecting that money through force. I would like to transition to where it's voluntary. If you want to help out those in need, please. And that's where the money will be delegated to. Now, however, the receivers of that money is going to be defined, a certain timeline, especially for those people that have children. Men don't get money pretty much if you're a single man. If you're a man that has children now, then you're able to qualify. Women, they qualify by default with having children and or being looked at as being a minority. So they are given the priority. So again, I think it should be equally available to all of those in need. Male, female, whatever the case may be. Children, no children. But to those people out there that are having children and depending on the system for some bit of assistance, you need to take responsibility for your choices, okay? I don't have any children, so for me to want to give my tax dollars to you, my money to you, I would like for you to do something with that productively, okay? Don't sit around year after year. I don't want to see you having a 60, 80-inch screen TV in your house. I don't want to see you wearing $200 shoes. I don't want to see all of that. I don't want to see you, driving a Chrysler 300 or whatever the case may be. Come on. You got to use the money productively. You got to do something better for yourself. And if you can't take that in itself as being a responsibility, then you shouldn't be having kids, okay, period. And that's why I would reform the welfare system to where anyone that would like to receive assistance would be given a certain amount of time. That would range between 1 to 3 years. Within that, you have an opportunity to do more for yourself and, progress and grow and create your own amount of wealth. So where now you can become self-sustainable on your own. And that's what we need to promote as a society, is for people to start taking responsibility for their actions, and for the individual themselves to start standing up for their choices, their own responsibilities, okay? I don't have any kids. Again, I could have had tons of kids by now, but I chose not to, okay? So, again, you should be given 1 to 3 years. Another stipulation would be 3 children. 3 strikes and you're out, okay? If you have 3 children and you're still dependent on the system, then after that 3rd child, no more assistance, okay? You need to get out there and do something. Get a job, sweep some floors, whatever the case may be, all right? I grew up on welfare. Single mother, grew up with her having 4 children supported by the welfare system. So I'm completely sympathetic to those that, again, need that help when they're struggling. However, my mother never took it upon herself to go out there and do more with that money. Now, she's working her ass off, working 2 jobs, okay? She had to go to school after all of us grew up and moved out, and now she's working harder than ever, to where before she could have used that money to build that foundation for herself. She could have went to school because there were programs there. We were all in the house. We were of age to where we were taking care of each other. So that foundation and structure was there. She didn't take advantage of it herself, okay? I love my mother dearly, trust me. But when it comes to us being responsible individuals, we need to also be grown-ups here. We're all adults. So take responsibility for your own choices as a grown-up, especially if you have young children. All right? I'm going to move along here. I could go on forever on each one. Anyways, next one. I know intentionally within your party there is a battle over the border issue, which is a seriously big one for Californians. Open, closed, controlled. The LP membership and leadership is all over the place. What would you do about the border issue? So, here in California, we had a law passed by the governor. It was not asked of the people, but he determined it based on numbers. The immigrants here in the state of California contribute to about $90 million plus in taxes each year, not to mention the work that they do. The students that come here from other countries, okay, they contribute in a multitude of ways. So the governor took it upon himself with the sanctuary cities that was being passed and created here in the state to create a sanctuary state law to where the entire state of California was protected from any federal immigration regulation. So it's a lot of people out there that have this false assumption that the government can dictate what the state of California can do with its immigrants, okay? It cannot. Constitutionally, it cannot, okay? When I was saying earlier in the video about laws aren't really laws, okay. With this federal dictation of the state of California's immigration practices, the immigration law that was passed was in 1952. It was the passage of the Immigration and Nationality Act, okay? It was passed by Congress to help regulate immigration then. Before 1952, there was no law against any immigration process for people coming into this country. Why they chose to do that? Of course, what do you think? Controlling of people, controlling of money, controlling of industry, control, period, okay? We want to allow people to freely move wherever they may choose to be, whether it be from state to state, country to country, however the case may be. People should be free to move, and it shouldn't be any restriction by government, hired individuals that we pay for, to restrict others at all, okay? So it is unconstitutional when I would be a sworn officer of the state to uphold the Constitution, and within that would be the 10th Amendment, which would mean that state law trumps federal law, okay? Any which case. And also, any federal law or any state law that we don't agree with that is unconstitutional, we can ignore with impunity, all right? When we talk about the Constitution, well, period. These legal documents, these founding documents that created the structure in the United States of America are three. They are the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. They're all legal documents, and they are all contracts between we, the people, and those people that we employ that we call the law society, the government, people that we employ. So we are putting in charge individuals to govern for us, those responsibilities that we delegate to them. That contract, again, is broken up into three parts. First one, respectfully, is the Declaration of Independence, which respects your personal individual rights. Read it, please. And within that, it says that you, the individual, have the right collectively can get together and say, if we don't like the government the way that it's functioning, we can get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. All right. Number two, the Constitution. That's a little breakdown of what the states can do, their responsibilities of individuals, etc. And again, the Bill of Rights is part of that Constitution. And that's a small breakdown of fundamental rights of the individual to be respected. It is not a dictation. I repeat, it is not a dictation of your rights. You have all sorts of rights that God gave you, that are natural rights, that the government can never take away from you. People are talking about the Second Amendment, repeal the Second Amendment. Yeah, you can always do that, but you can never take away the right for the individual to protect themselves. Just because a piece of paper says that, again, you, the hired individual, the government employee, the public servant, are supposed to respect my individual right to protect myself. So if you decide not to respect that any longer, now we have a conflict of interest, and we have a dispute amongst that contract that we signed way back then when. So these three documents are the foundation of all of these other laws that we built on top of it. We need to push away all of those other laws and get back down to just the foundation here. Because when these officers of the state and of the government swear to uphold the United States Constitution, that's what they're swearing to do. Stick to the book, the cement, what's written in stone. Their own opinions does not matter. Your opinion does not matter. As much as you think that you have an opinion in government, it does not. We do not have a democracy here. If we did, everyone's opinion would control everyone. This is not a democratic country. You have this all confused. We live in a constitutional republic. Constitutional republic. That means that the individuals that we hire, again, they swear to uphold the Constitution and the republic for which it stands. Okay? Let's get back to these questions here, because again, I could go on. A lot of this you got to find out on your own. But when it comes to immigration, again, I would not be deporting any individuals that are peaceful. Of course, any criminal that is in the state, whether they be a immigrant or a citizen of the state, born and raised here, or coming from another state, or whatever the case may be. If you're a criminal, then you need to be found, number one, and you need to be put away and held accountable for your crimes. So I think there needs to be an increase of responsibilities with the police officers and state officials to do their jobs and increase their ways of investigating individuals that could actually pose a threat to us all as a whole. That needs to be their responsibility, period. The first line of defense for you, the individual, is you yourself. You need to be able to protect yourself, whether it be from a burglary, any type of physical assault, any type of whatever the case may be. You should be able to protect yourself. You can call on others to help you And those can be people of your community first also. And then the next layer would be those police officers or state officials that you employ to help you in that matter. So when it comes to a instance where you need to protect yourself, you should not be denied that natural right. And there would not be any infringement upon that were I to be elected governor of California. Next question. How are free market options better than government provided ones? Well, government gets its money from you, the taxpayers. So it would be collecting that money and then redistributing it where it sees fit. So whether it be education, healthcare, whatever the case may be, government is using your money to solve those industry problems that with free market options, the risk is on the business itself. School now is looked at as being a business. It should be. It always was, always will be. Because we can learn a lot of things for free. There's tons of things you can look up on YouTube and Google or whatever the case may be. You can learn tons of things for free. We learn from each other tons of things for free. The majority of what we learn in our lives, we learn for free, okay? Education, higher education especially, is a choice that you're making, all right? There's higher education institutes that you can find online. You can learn about physics, you can learn about astronomy, you can learn about engineering, you can learn about all sorts of things online for free that people make available. If you want to pay for those services, then that is your choice. We all shouldn't be forced to pay for your choice. So, when it comes to governments, institutions, or government getting involved, thinking it can create a better way for your children to be taught or for people to receive better health care, it does not. If a business come along and they fail at providing a good service, they, number one, will not get your money, and number two, will get such a bad reputation that they go out of business and become defunct. It's a risk. And that's the choice that the business is taking by providing the society with a need. That is how innovation works. Innovation works is the supplier sees a demand by society and says, I'm going to provide that. Now, you, as a part of that body, choose to then get involved with that personal contract. It's an agreement, just like how you go to a grocery store and you can pay $5 for one thing at one place, but go to another place and spend $1 for the same product. You're making the choice. Look at your gas stations. You have gas stations right across the street from each other that have opposing prices. One could be 10 cents less than the other, but yeah, you'll still see people over there paying 10 cents more. Why? Because they have the choice to do so. All right? Getting government out of that would allow those businesses, especially with taxation, to reduce the amount of prices that you're paying for those products, number one, and then with regulations. The amount of products that you're receiving, the type of products that you're receiving would increase in value. We have the trade war right now happening with tariffs, etc. If that was relieved, if that was actually something that was lifted, things would skyrocket, the amount of costs for products, because now instead of having them imported at businesses having it imported for a cheaper price because they want to be able to profit too. If anybody wanted to run a business, you'd want to maximize your amount of profit by reducing your amount of cost. Who would spend $1 to make $1? Okay? You want to make money here, and that's why businesses are in business, to make money. So we should allow them to. There's nothing wrong with capitalism, but when crony capitalism, private relationships and agreements between government officials and these businesses take place to make it more advantageous for them opposed to for you, then it's going to always hurt the industry, hurt the individual. So we're paying more for things that we should be paying a lot less for. We should be having more quality education and more quality healthcare services, but we're thinking that since government has the problem and it can solve all of these things for us, that it should get involved. It should not. It should get out of those industries and allow them to fail where they do and allow them to succeed where they may. So that is why free market options are always better than government ones. Next question. My question to you is, are you willing, excuse me, are you willing to work with or against Trump in his push to make America great again? Woo, excuse me. I had to refresh myself for that one. Okay, so I would say a few things about Trump, because as governor I would have to work with him. Let's see. Two things. Yes and no. No on the immigration thing. Of course, you don't have jurisdiction in my state. I'm going to take care of the people in my state. You take care of the people in Washington, D.C. Because D.C. is supposed to stay in D.C. That's another dictation of the Constitution that we're not sticking to the book with. Is D.C. is supposed to stay in D.C. Each state is sovereign to itself and its own principality. So as the Republic of California, we have our own constitution, and we will not be compliant with any federal regulations whatsoever that are unconstitutional, period. So he would have to, again, stay out of our state, unless he wants to get arrested. But when it comes to the wall, no, there will not be a border wall created in the state of California. It's going to end at our borders, that's for certain. The relationship between Mexico and California definitely could be repaired and increase and become one that's further established on trust. That's what we do with one another. We trust one another to respect our personal boundaries. Don't come in my yard. Don't come in my house. Don't infringe upon my body, my personal borders, unless we make an agreement to do so. So with the state of Mexico, we could increase our agreement and improve our relationships with them. But I hate to break it to you people, a border ain't gonna stop immigrants from coming here, okay? The majority of the people coming here, immigrants here in California, are from China and India, okay? They're flying here. So a wall isn't going to stop them from flying here. Also, they have money, okay? The people coming here come here for jobs. They come here to create businesses. They come here to create jobs for other people. So it's a matter of economical sense for California to allow it to continue to have its attraction to other people in the world to come here. We want the best and the brightest to come to California and make our state as great as possible as it can be. So we can make America great again if we allow the greatest in the world to come here to our country. And California would love to be one of the first places that those individuals put on their map and their choice. So please come to California. We will make it great again, and we will bring back liberty and turn this Golden State gold. All right. So with regards to his other aspects, I would like to get rid of fiat currencies and allow the state of California to be able to have competing currencies. I believe that would allow the people of this state to have more buying power. That sounds very radical, but this is actually done in certain cities and in certain states around our country. Okay, so they have their own city currency. They have their own state currency. And it goes in correlation with the dollar, the Federal Reserve note, which is a fiat currency which is backed by debt. The California dollar, if we were to create one, would be actual money backed by something. It would be backed by the natural resources and the wealth that the people here in this state create, and you would be the benefactors of that. So as the value of that goes up, you would receive a stronger buying power, a stronger purchase for whatever you're using versus the debt dollar, the Federal Reserve note. Also with cryptocurrencies, those could be considered. You have Bitcoin right now. A lot of people don't understand how it works. It's just digital money, and it's not being created by one company, which is the Federal Reserve. Okay? It's decentralized. We created that money. The people, we created it online. If we could create that in person, in actuality, in real life, imagine the power that we could create. All right, this is real wealth that we want to get back to. We could create wealth that is backed by the cannabis industry. Here in the state of California, we legalize cannabis, and we could have relationships with other states and other countries like Mexico, where we would decriminalize any type of transport of those goods, which would then take those type of actions that is happening in the black market, bring it to light, and allow people to start having an honest business opposed to some back alley deals doing things in the shadows. We want to allow people to be professionals with their business, allow them to do so. So if we were to decriminalize it, now it's not looked at as being so bad. In the state of Nevada also, in the state of Arizona, soon to be the state of Oregon. So if we were to contract with those states and agree that we would transport goods with one another, the federal government wouldn't have any jurisdiction over that whatsoever. So we could get the products going again. We could build up our own state dollar. We could build up the wealth of the people here in California, because that's where it matters the most. The government doesn't have to be rich. The people of the state have to be rich. It's the 6th largest economy in the world because of the people here, the industries here. All right? Not because of government. Okay? All right. We're going to move along here with the next question. Excuse me. What is your view on the challenges that law enforcement deals with? It's sad that law enforcement gets dealt the, forgive me for lack of better words, shit end of the stick. It's awful how they are looked at as being, I would love to help officers, because I speak with a lot of people that are cops, that are sheriffs, and part of the California Highway Patrol. These are regular people just like us, trust me. And they have lives, they have families, they have friends, they have relationships with other people that they adore and are loving and are friendly. And then they put on this uniform, this costume, and they're given a certain amount of responsibilities that overwhelm them, okay? We're overwhelming people with our own dictation of what should be, okay? We talk about the immigration law, okay? Arizona passed a law called the SB 1070, I believe, or something like that, yeah. In Arizona, and it was to have law enforcement go out and pretty much do what ICE is doing right now, and deport those people that were illegal or didn't have the proper documentation to be looked at as citizens. This was a law that has since been overturned, and the reason being is because the people of the state rose up against it. It was done on a prejudice platform, which was to, again, stop people and profile them just based on how they look and deport them just for no reason at all. It wasn't because they hurt anyone, and it was all a matter of paperwork. So we're overwhelming these individuals, and now the Arizona Police Department and the Arizona state officers have less stress on their shoulders. I would like to take the stress off the shoulders of law enforcement individuals in this state. They don't need to be dictating what kind of substance that you have or are in possession of. They don't need to be dictating if you are in possession of a weapon or certain types of property, okay? especially if they're swearing to take an oath to uphold the United States Constitution. That is where it starts first and foremost. So if all officers' duties were to just do that, then there wouldn't be all of these arbitrary laws that make their jobs harder. So to make their jobs easier is to give them less responsibilities and allow them to just focus on finding criminals, helping those that are in need of emergency response to a crime, and help those people in need. We can build up the image of the officer that people receive and look at them as being pillars of our community once again, and respectful individuals that are seen with honor and respect and appreciation. I believe they would want that as well, just as people, and we should give them that as a whole, because we're giving them that position. So if we want to help them out, again, take a little bit of this stress off their shoulders and help them out. So I think they have a hard job, and that's more so just staying politically correct and just making sure that they're looked at as being respected amongst their community. And it would be a lot easier if people saw them as being protectors of them versus an enemy. So give them back their power to help people, give them back their power to be peace officers, and take away all of these policies that they're having to enforce. Next question, if I may. Why do you support net neutrality? Well, we're seeing right now what's happening with net neutrality being removed. You have censorship being done on a wide scale. You have websites like YouTube removing certain videos that has to do with showing of guns, and same thing happening with Facebook. You had the throttling issues with companies like AT&T and Verizon controlling the speeds, internet speeds for individuals. So when it comes to the internet being a free market tool that's available to the people and the public, then it should be exactly that, free of any type of regulatory practices whatsoever. Net neutrality was our agreement with the providers, with the people involved on the internet, the people that we rely upon and trust to provide us with that service. We look at what's happening right now with Facebook selling off 50 million users' personal information for voter statistics just so they could win an election, okay? So these regulatory practices aren't really helping at all, and if anything, they're protecting these individuals. So as a state, with it being removed, with net neutrality now being removed at the federal level, as a state, what we could do is create our own internet, all right? Because we can have a statewide and state-funded internet service to where everybody is able to use it. That way, if you want to pay for AT&T, if you want to pay for Verizon, if you want to pay for any type of service that's online, you're more than welcome to. But those that do not have the money to pay should not be denied that fundamental right either. The internet has become an imperative communication tool, especially when it comes to us living here in the 21st century. Come on now, get with it. Everything pretty much is done online. You have websites or government agencies where they'll tell you, go visit our website to file this paperwork. If you're not able to do that, then you're screwed. So we need to have the internet always be accessible to everyone. And we need to make sure that there are certain provisions in place that allow us, we the people, to make sure that that is protected for us. Moving along here. Laws mandating seatbelt and helmet use laws against jaywalking and other such picayune rules seem small in the light of issues like 3 strikes and sanctuary cities. But they greatly impact individual liberty, and fines for violations are a cash cow for government. What priority would you give in a repeal of such small laws? Well, again, as I said, as governor, my three main responsibilities would be executive and helping out with those legislative laws that are passed. I would not have any authority over city laws, okay? That would be up to your city officials. So what you would have to do is make sure that your city officials are upholding the Constitution. I would be able to assist you with that, okay? Now, when it comes to those laws being passed on the statewide level, of course, that wouldn't be done. They could get vetoed. But what we could also do, and what I would consider, is passing legislation that